So if you've unfortunately been on the internet lately, aside from seeing Tung Tung Sahor memes or the new Dubis Gugana,
I was listening to the Doobie Scoot Canoe Darling mashup.
or even the rise of low-tier god edits since he recently won in court representing himself.
Your Honor, if I may say something.
Best written character in our universe, by the way. But apart from all of that, when browsing the web, you may have seen a specific image going around lately. An image that, to say the least, would probably put the average person's appetite in a coma, and it would maybe even cause even the weakest germaphobe to contemplate bleaching either their skin or eyes from just simply witnessing said amalgamation of pixels. And before I show you this image, I feel like I have to warn you, after seeing it, you will possibly have a visceral reaction because it is very disgusting and it will only get worse as we continue to talk about the subject of that image. So viewer discretion is strongly advised for both this image and the disturbing things we'll talk about surrounding the person involved. So without further ado, the picture you may have seen online is this, an image of someone's back that some are calling the gamer back.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
And this image is commonly combined with another on the same level from someone else called the gamer leg. But within this image, the person appears to have either black and red pustules or severe back acne that most definitely rivals the backs of even the strongest gym influencer on steroids. I personally like to call this collection of disturbing pixels the wall of human mold. And if you thought the picture alone was bad enough, believe me, the context behind it is far, far worse. Because first of all, this build, apparently from my limited research, is only achievable through things like follicular oculation, which is where pores on the skin become blocked or infected, and is often caused by the body's overproduction of things like keratin, eventually causing the pores to swell and then rupture, at times leaving marks and scars very similar to what is in this picture. It could also be related to things like diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, as it causes a similar look. Or it's simply just poor hygiene and the person does not shower enough to the point where there is a buildup of dead skin, dried sweat, and natural oils, which can create the conditions for such a physique. Or even more simple, this is just a very bad case of acne or backne. However, I personally think this is down to a lack of personal hygiene, primarily because as I looked further into this and the subject of the image, I found that they are quite infamous for similar things and behaviour, particularly not showering for extended periods, and they've also been known to live and sleep in an environment that is quite literally infested with black mold. Yes, this person rivals Asmongold when it comes to the state of their gaming dungeon, and instead of losing teeth and using dead rats as alarm clocks, this person has gone in a completely different direction where they are actively cultivating and growing a biohazard on their back, to the point where they may eventually become a canonically accurate live adaptation of the Flood from Halo, or Ethan Winters from Resident Evil, but just entirely consumed by the magmasite mold. And unfortunately, as I said, it gets even worse. Because you know like how in Ben 10 there was the alien diamond head or something and he could shoot projectiles from his hands and I think his back? Well, this person has a similar ability where on at least one occasion they somehow unknowingly popped their ult and they managed to launch a large projectile of their own consisting of pus and blood, with most of it landing on their setup. And then he proudly shared the experience on Discord. Apparently he even proceeded to lick the goop afterwards, and when someone warns him about doing this, he just nonchalantly says he's licked worse. And he continues to say the crater, this Mount Vesuvius that had just erupted from his back, is turning black and will probably soon fall off again, even adding in his current state he might die soon, which is absolutely both disgusting and concerning because it takes a lot of self-neglect to get to this point. Like, it takes a lot. You would have to be rot maxing to the extreme to achieve remotely any of this. But what's more concerning apart from the goo explosion is who this back belongs to, because they aren't just known or infamous due to their personal hygiene or lack thereof, or how bad their environment is and perhaps their superhuman abilities, but they are also quite well known for some of the things they've said and done on platforms like Discord. And this is what we are going to be talking about today. But who exactly is this person, I hear you asking? Well, this is Terns Cheese.
I don't want to be near a stingy vegetable player.
Bro, you're literally shaped like a ball. I do not want to hear it.
And I was literally...
You're calling me stinky when you have barnacles on your back and mold next to your bed.
So when it comes to Terns Cheese, or just Terns as he's commonly known, not a lot is publicly known about him. We do at least know his name is Ellis, and his age from what has been circulated is apparently above the age of 18, and unfortunately, he is a resident of the Great United Kingdom. We do not claim him, by the way. I know we get a lot of shit, but this man does not represent us. And even if that was the case, Asmongold would represent the average American, and XQC would represent the language skills for all of Canada, so fuck you. However, with so little known about Terns, he was still quite popular even before his beautiful post-gym backday picture broke containment and was released to the world. He wasn't known like a lot of the people we speak about on this channel. He didn't have a background in streaming. He wasn't primarily known as a content creator or, thank God, a VTuber. He did occasionally make posts on things like Twitter and TikTok, but both, since people began looking into this, have either been privated or deactivated. And even when they were still active on these platforms, he was mainly only known due to his hygiene issues and his obsession with a certain game. With that game being Fortnite.
Epic Games, it's me. We gotta talk about this item shop because, in a way it's very good, and vegetable skins, it's not bad. But when it comes to the emotes, where's the gritty?
He's actually more well known within the Fortnite community, and he's rightfully treated more like the boogeyman of the game more than anything else. It actually wouldn't surprise me if Fortnite players in the future use him as a scary bedtime story to scare their children into not being exactly like him. But then again, it's wishful thinking to assume anyone who touches Fortnite would have kids or would even come in contact with the opposite gender. But aside from his hygiene, he was mainly known in the Fortnite community because he really liked playing Fortnite. His name and profile is even based off one of the skins found within the game. He was addicted to it, and if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm in fact not. Because if you thought your War Thunder, League of Legends, or even obscure fairy hentai game addiction was bad, he outdoes you by a factor of 10. Because Mr. Terns prided himself as being a hardcore Fortniter, and it was the only game he ever played, with it being rumoured that he had reached max level in a majority of the Fortnite seasons, which, for context, to this day, there has been at least 40, with each lasting around 10 to 12 weeks. So he's put a lot of hours into Fortnite, to say the least. At one point he even claimed he was the highest ranked individual in the UK on Fortnite with 69,420 crowns, which with my limited Fortnite knowledge translates to wins within the game.
I'm the highest level player in the UK, and I love cheese.
However, even with this legacy, in the current Fortnite season, Terns is nowhere to be found on the top level leaderboard. And when I looked at his Fortnite account, he recently hasn't been putting nearly as much hours as he has previously been known to on the game, which once again, like with him removing a lot of his presence on platforms, is probably because a lot of people have their eyes on him right now and the things he's done. But going off his history with the game, his level in one season was apparently 1,161. Now you may ask yourself, how is that possible? How can you be that level and achieve numbers similar to that every Fortnite season when even Fortnite icons like Ninja have never even been in the ballpark of that level. You would probably have to play Fortnite every waking minute since the release of a chapter, and you would have to play it so much that both the thought and feel of a bed of grass in the great outdoors would be all but a foreign concept to you. And in Tern's case, it is almost that exact situation. He would play this game 24/7, probably 365 days a year, which would result in him becoming far more known outside of the Fortnite community for another reason, which I've been alluding to up to this point, because Terns would play Fortnite so much he had begun to neglect both himself and his surroundings, more specifically his gaming setup, or to be more accurate, his gaming cesspit. Yes, the room he both plays games in and sleeps in has been so neglected to the point where it's littered with trash, old food, cans, bottles, and has even started to be consumed by black mold. And it seems like he isn't too bothered about it, he's maybe even a bit proud of it, because when he was present on his now missing Discord server, he would voluntarily show people the state of his room with no shame.
Before, it actually kinda got cleaned up actually. Like, Jane, it actually got tidied up.
No, pick up the Xbox thing.
Well, actually, right. Give me a sec. I have to just, like, throw that there, I guess. Oh, fuck, I don't even know, bro. There's so much shit on the floor. But yeah, bro, I mean, it's not even insanely bad right now. Right, the thing on the walls he was on about. I think he means the mold. I don't know or not.
Oh, why is there black fucking mold in your room?
Oh, because
Why
he
not,
drops
bro?
like soda cans and he doesn't clean it up for months on end, so it's just like...
Yeah, like... What's up, guys? My name is Terns Cheese, and I am one of the highest levels on Fortnite with the most amount of crown wins. Right now, this is my room, guys. It's not too bad, but yeah. So basically, on Fortnite... Whew, I am level 1161 with 568 crown wins, and my account level is 19,000. Time to go and eat this fucking big feast.
Now, if you can't spot it, Terns has made a fatal mistake here, and I'm not even talking about the biohazards in his room, we'll talk about that later. But as a professional UK resident, and after analysing this video, I can tell he has resorted to eating Domino's pizza instead of the 50 non-chain restaurants in his local area, normally on every corner, with questionable hygiene ratings but with far cheaper prices and way better food, and let's not forget, they call you boss man. This alone is an offence that should get him branded as a traitor and exiled from the UK. Just saying. Anyway, there are apparently countless videos online where Terns shows his surroundings voluntarily and openly to whoever is in a Discord call with him, and he's even recorded and posted some of these room tours himself, showing the heap he lives in and the mold that is slowly taking over his abode. In one situation, he even apparently ate moldy cheese that was sat in his room for God knows how long because it was growing its own ecosystem.
It's black! Oh my god!
And he was only doing this as a celebration for reaching level 720 in Chapter 5 of Fortnite. There are a whole host of images and videos out there of Terns showing off some of the expired food he had forgotten about in his room, and this includes some odd combinations to say the least, like hot chocolate and cheese. But if you thought Terns' environment was the worst part of this, let me once again refer you to the image of the gamerback. Because it's much worse than just his back. One may even say it's so bad that Nurgle himself would fear what he's become. And he once again will proudly show these things off. He will show how long and dirty his nails are, the so-called crust on his leg.
What is that?
What the fuck? It's a leg crust, bro.
Oh my god, bro, your legs are so big.
Ugh.
Shut the fuck up, bro.
There have been pictures of open wounds and what looks like stains and mold growing on his clothes. And most of this is obviously down to his surroundings and most importantly his personal hygiene or lack thereof. On one occasion when he's in his server's voice chat, he's asked when was the last time he bathed, and he responds by saying he doesn't remember. It must have been last year or something.
That's how you stored.
Like, sometime last year, I think. I don't know.
Last year?
I think so.
No, we went
Like, I
over
don't really
last time we
know.
showered.
He also apparently collected his back scabs or flakes and pissed in a jar and left it to the point where it fermented. Just so you know. Now, it is entirely possible that some of these events could be staged, or he could be LARPing and playing into his reputation for attention or rage bait, but judging from once again his room and some of the images he shared of open wounds, I think a lot of this isn't an act and he actually lives like this in some capacity. And in my unprofessional opinion, with all of this, it seems like he has something like a hoarder's mindset, or he just does not care about his physical well-being and living environment, to the point where he even jokes about it and happily shows other people who just either respond by laughing at him or with disgust, and he even tells people he is going to expire soon as a result of his living conditions. So needless to say, I think that at the very least there is possibly something mentally wrong with him to be okay with living and doing all of this. But then again, I'm not a trained psychologist, so take what I said with a grain of salt. However, what really confuses me about this whole situation is the fact Terns doesn't live alone. He lives with his parents, which yes, kind of makes sense since he does spend apparently over 22 hours a day on Fortnite, and it doesn't seem like he really does much else, so like you, I assume he's unemployed. But from what I could find from Terns' own words, it seems like his parents are fine with the way he lives, and his parents are somewhat aware of his love for Fortnite, as in previous years they have hosted Fortnite themed birthdays for him. And in the interview with Wilson STW, he says when his parents do actually want to enter his room, they supposedly don a gas mask as protection.
That was actually a tough photo, the gas mask photo.
No, that's yeah. So basically, that's for like my family. If they ever like need to come into my room and shit, then the gas mask is there for them.
Oh, okay, I get that. That's actually nice, bro. I mess with that. Does your family like support like you like entirely? Because I know like I saw the photos of your birthday. They look pretty sick, bro.
Yeah, bro, like, yeah.
Terns is also very vocal about his other interests as well, with that being femboys and being a furry. Yes, once again, the furry community has taken another hit. These poor guys just can't catch a break, and he really liked femboys. He wasn't even hiding it. But that is basically Terns. I couldn't really delve into his past that much because once again, since Terns started getting a lot of attention, he has deleted and privated a lot of his accounts. But if you thought all of what I just told you wasn't bad enough, it gets much worse. Because Terns wouldn't just private his accounts due to people taking note of things like his living conditions. No, as we've seen, he didn't really have any shame when it came to that, and he was very open about it. But as it turns out, the thing that would in fact influence him to hide, private, and delete most of his past online activity was allegations. Now, the allegations against Terns are once again allegations, so take them with a grain of salt. But after these allegations were posted in May of 2026, Terns would, in response, as said, delete and private everything. So at the very least, you can say the publication of said allegations may have had something to do with that decision. So what are these allegations, you may be asking? Well, it was that he was allegedly grooming underage individuals and sending them explicit things over Discord. Yeah, and these allegations blew up a few weeks ago and went viral primarily because they were packaged with the picture of his gamer back, which is how I found out about this and the history behind it. It was so popular, in fact, it got its own news article where, yes, it does mention the allegations, but mainly focuses on the existence of gamerleg and if it's real. Now, Terns has had allegations even before this when he was in fact much younger in 2021, where he apparently sent messages threatening to sexually assault and harm others on top of other things. But obviously these allegations weren't as popular as his latest allegations. So in May of 2026, Twitter user Waffling, who claims they were previously one of Terns' closest friends from 2021 to 2025, would make a thread exposing Terns with a plethora of screenshots showing Terns' interactions with those significantly younger than himself. In the first batch of screenshots, they alleged that on an alt account, Terns was sending furry and femboy porn to someone that was underage, and they would also have very disturbing conversations about the things being sent. And looking through the screenshots, he sent a lot of degenerate shit to this person, so obviously most of this will be censored, even though it already has been, because to be honest, in the original post they didn't censor it that well. They then provide proof this is Terns on an alt account because he did a terrible job at hiding this wasn't him, because all of his socials were linked to the alt account for some reason. They also add that Terns on at least 3 occasions had received 3 child safety violations by Discord, and I don't know how you can receive 3 of these and still be on the Discord platform without being IP banned or just straight up banned. They then allege that he even dated someone significantly younger than him, attaching a screenshot of when Terns was talking to them asking if they liked him. And even under this thread there are people sharing their experiences with Terns. But those were the allegations made against Terns, and when this was made public, a lot of posts and videos were made about it, and it was mainly down to the picture of his back attached to it. And not too long after, Terns was gone. I don't even think he attempted to defend himself, he was just gone, and nobody has seen him since.
Messing with me or I'm gonna chud out! I'm chudding out! I'm gonna chud everywhere! I'm chudding out!
In conclusion, that is Terns Cheese. Someone that initially shocked the wider internet for their lack of hygiene and messy environment he lived in. And once again, I thought Asmongold was the worst case in this category, but apparently I was wrong. There's levels to this. But whilst the image of his back shocked the internet, it also brought more attention to the disgusting allegations made against him. And said attention eventually led him to ultimately delete everything. And even with everything gone, a lot of people are still going to remember his story, his bizarre living situation, and what he allegedly did. But that is Terns Cheese. Thank you to Saturated Content in his video on the topic, as a lot of the things used in this video were from their video, as I couldn't find an archive of Terns' activity before he deleted it, so thank you to their video and making me lose my appetite on a Friday morning. And yeah, that's basically it. Subscribe, I guess, and also, before any of you say anything, I know for a fact most of you probably have rooms that look exactly like Terns's, so don't get on your high horse. And don't lie, I can smell you through the monitor, you sick fuck. But yep, that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.